Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of In Distress, a podcast where I talk about nonsense in the comfort of my childhood bedroom. I'm so tired of me. This is like the 13th or 14th take. I started recording at like 12:30. It's 1:28 a.m. I just really stop myself sometimes and I'm like, is this good? Like midway through, I'll look at the next topic and I'm like, is this good? And then I'm like, okay, well, and would I stick around and listen to it? Would I stick around and watch it? Am I proud of it? And the answer, like 75% of the time is no. And then I'm like, okay, well, I should start over. And girl, it's 1:28 a.m. Like, I got stuff to do. Actually, tomorrow, I'm actually recording this episode early. Y'all are shocked, aren't you? I'm recording the episode early because I'm going out to eat with my friends. And I'm actually super excited about it because my friends live a little far away. So whenever I'm able to go and hang out with them and spend time with them, I'm excited. But we're just going out for dinner, and I feel like that's such a regular thing to do at 22. But yeah. Anyways, sometimes I really do question whether or not these episodes are good enough and whether or not people are going to stick around and watch, whether or not people are going to stay and listen or whatever. And it really makes me feel uncomfortable because then I really have to step back and ask myself, okay, well, why did you... It's not about those things, but at the same time, it kind of is, because like I asked myself, what did I start the podcast for? And it's like, oh, well, I started it because I want to like talk to people and like, it'll be great. And I want to talk about things that I care about and I'm interested in. And I would love it if other people listened and talked about them and we could have conversations about them. But yeah, anyways, whatever that was, feel free to like and subscribe. Anyways, I did want to say, somebody was in my comments actually the other day, and not even the other day, it was literally today. And I always respond to the comments. So if you have anything that you want to add to like something I said, feel free to do that. I always respond anyways. But they were like, you need to like grow up and stop clickbaiting your videos, and this is not how you get watchers and viewers and subscribers, and you just need to grow up and stop. And the thing is this, I was listening to my favorite podcast today, and my favorite podcast is Jokes on You podcast. It's two Black women, Mel and Tally, and I think they're both comedians, but they're really fun. They're two Black women. I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoy listening to their podcast. Like, they make me laugh. They make me like, I get so excited when they post an episode, and I want to put out content that makes other people feel that way. Anyways, but they were like talking today on their episode that they released, and they were like, one of them said like, honestly, I just started telling white people to stop talking to me, and life's been great ever since then. And not that I'm against white people per se. I think that some white people, not all, some, a larger amount than half white people enjoy policing Black people. I think they enjoy policing anyone who's not white. I think that they enjoy policing anybody, honestly, to be fair. Yeah. And I like, that's obviously like a very entitled thing. Like, I don't go around thinking I should be policing people. So like the fact that like a large amount of white people feel like they can just go and do that, I think that's very telling. I think when we start talking about, it's not funny. I think when we start talking about I won't say white power, because that's anti. I think when we start talking about white supremacy, and we really have the conversation about white privilege, I think that's a great deal of it. It's like white people feeling like they can and should police other people's actions, especially other people's actions when they don't agree with them. And I just find that very weird for obvious reasons. But it's also, like, I don't go around, like I said, I don't go around telling people what they should and shouldn't do. And, oh, you need to do this and you need to do that. And if you don't agree with this, you're wrong. And like, do we not think that's weird? Sometimes I get like, I'm shocked by the fact that some people don't have that little voice in their head saying, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that. Oh, not everybody's like me. Not everybody thinks like me. Not everybody's going to do what I do. It's kind of concerning that there's no voice in there that's like, hey, stop, take a second, stop, think, act. You don't have that? Very concerning. Anywho, but I'm really excited to get to the point in my life where I feel like I can just tell people to stop talking to me and it be okay. Like, I even like feel bad, or like sometimes I feel weird blocking people because, or like deleting their comments. That's what I do. I do that sometimes. Because sometimes like people just say hurtful things on the internet, which I get it's the internet. But sometimes like people get like really nasty in like the comments, which is why I actually don't go to my comment section on TikTok anymore. It's kind of sad because I do like reading the like comments and stuff, but I don't really look there anymore because like it just started getting super weird. And since I'm talking about things getting super weird, I'm gonna get back to the clickbait. To the comment I was just talking about. But there was this man, I posted this TikTok, and it was about Georgia State Patrol. And if you don't know the lore of Georgia State Patrol, just know that they get down. They do not care. They will get you anywhere in Georgia. The troopers will. And they will give you that ticket. They will pull you over. They do not play. They will run you into, like, they will, like, if you try to run, they will chase you into other states. Like, you're not getting away from them, okay? They will fully let that car flip over and you die. And they be like, well, I stopped them. They don't play. Okay. So I had made like a one-off video about that on TikTok, and I never really, I won't say I don't expect my videos to do well, but based on the data, okay, based on the analytics from other videos, I never expect any of my videos to go beyond like 400 views, if that, usually 300. And so I posted this TikTok about Georgia State Patrol, and it was like a goofy video. Didn't put any thought behind it, just posted it. And it started doing really well. And it has like 2 million views on TikTok, I think. And people were in the comments, like just having a good time, just talking about Georgia State Patrol and just sharing their stories and stuff. And I thought it was really cool because like, that's the point of like, that's what I enjoy about social media. I enjoy like the community aspect of it. I enjoy like hearing other people's like experiences. I enjoy, joking around with other people on the internet. It's fun. But the situation that followed this was not fun, actually. Sorry, I got an email. But the situation that followed that, it was actually not fun at all. A lot of people had seen this video, as I stated, had like 2 million views. And so it was a lot of people in Georgia, and some men had seen it, come across it, and they had DM'd me. And I don't really I don't respond to men DMing me on social media. Like I don't do that. That's just, we talked about in past episodes that I'm a man hater. Not really a man hater per se, but like I don't go around just thinking, obviously like with anybody, but especially men, that men have my best interest at heart. I do not go into like, men tend to be very violent towards women. And so there's not really a good reason for me to think that a man who comes into my life is, or like a man who bypasses my life, necessarily has the best intentions. Like, I'm going to need to vet you first. I'm going to need to hear some conversations that you're having. I'm going to need to see what the vibe is. I'm going to need to vet you first before I say, okay, you might be kind of okay. Before we get to the point of like, I feel pretty safe with this, around this person, around this man here. It takes a little minute. It takes a little minute for me and men. I'll be honest with you. And not that I haven't had, which let me say this, because sometimes people get a little nasty. I have good examples of men in my life. I don't have necessarily personal reasons for thinking, oh, men are all terrible and I hate them all and they've always only ever been violent to me in my experience, because that's not the truth. I've actually encountered a lot of great men in my life. My dad Great man. I love him so much. He's such a giving person. Like, he is always like willing to help people whenever they need it. He always goes and helps his friends whenever they need it. And I really appreciate that about him. My uncle, my dad's brother, great man, always made sure me and my sister were good, always took us out, treated us great, would take us to dinner and stuff and pay. And he gives big baller. You know what I'm saying? My grandpa, cool guy. And then some other uncles and cousins that I have that are men, good people. Even like one of my friends, Roy, from my previous job at Chicken Salad Chick, super nice guy, okay? Good intentions. He's a little goofy, but that's a decent man. He's a decent man. He's a stand-up man. He is. And then I have a coworker at work. He's cool guy. Really cool guy, honestly. He has a YouTube channel. I think it's called Travel Addicts, if you guys want to check that out. But yeah, cool guy. He does videos with his wife. It's really great. Anyways, but yeah, he's cool. It's not those men. Those are not the men that I'm referring to. I'm talking about the weird men who will DM you and ask you to go out with them or try to hit you up in the DMs. No, I don't know you. Like, you go and watch the news and you just hear violence against women. You hear crimes against women from these men. You can't even walk down the street at night and feel like, oh, I can just do this and be safe. No, you looking over your shoulder. Anyways, we've all seen the stories in the news. Men do be violent towards women. Anywho, but he had DM'd me and on TikTok, he had DM'd me on Instagram, my business account, then had texted me on my personal number. And I was like, I don't appreciate being contacted this way. And he was talking about, can I pay you? I want to smell your farts. Blocked on the messages. I said, we're not even going to do that. Let's leave that. And then the messages still getting through to my iPad. And I was like, damn, did I not block him? So I went on my iPad and I was like, went to go block and it was already blocked. And I was like, why are the messages still coming in? So then, I was like, if he tries to contact me any other way outside of these messages, I'm going to block him on social media and on everything, everywhere. And I think later on that night, he sent me $5, sent me an email, then tried to friend me on Snapchat. And I was like, no. So then I blocked him on everything. I went on his Instagram to see what he looked like in case like he came around and I needed to know what he looked like. And then I blocked. I found out he was a cop. So he found me from my TikTok that I had posted, and like I said, he had DM'd me and I didn't respond. And then he texted me. I don't even know how he got my number. He said he contacted me through email. And the email that's connected to my Apple account is not anywhere on the internet. I don't know. It was very weird. I felt very uncomfortable. I told my parents about it. And the situation has been fine since then. But it was I was not enjoying that. Like, to the women out there who want to do social media and stuff, like, be careful, first of all. Like, if things start getting weird, you start feeling uncomfortable, definitely tell people around you who, care about you, so that if things get weird or something happens, like, people know and they're informed about stuff. And honestly, like, just make sure that you're not putting your personal information out there. Like, try not to like record places. I know that this is like common sense, but it's not common sense for everybody. Like, if you're on the internet, don't post. Like, wait. If you're out somewhere, make sure you're not there anymore when you post it. Make sure you've left. Like, if you're on a trip or something, don't post while you're there on the trip. No, don't do that now. Hold on. You need to wait a little bit. Or what's another example? Like, there's those things. But yeah, just make sure. Also, yeah, don't like do too much like outside of where you live, because you don't want people to find out where you're at. And that the thing, and like, it's not weird because people live in Noonan too. But a lot of people were like, oh, I know exactly where you are. You're on blah, 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 blah. Oh, I know where you're not, like saying exactly where stuff is. And I'm just like, why are y'all on the internet, like doing all that? Like, whoa, you don't have to, you don't have to share people's locations. I know exactly where you're at. That's a bit weird. Don't comment that. Don't comment that. And that's honestly why I don't post anything really, like, I think I post pictures from Atlanta. I don't live in Atlanta. I don't post pictures for real anywhere outside of this room. I don't record videos anywhere outside of this room. Maybe in my kitchen, but that's it. Maybe in my garage and maybe in my car. And then I purposely, if I'm in my car, never record to where people can see like street signs or anything, because people on the internet are very weird. Like, and I hate that it comes down to that people on the internet are just weird. Not all people, obviously, but there are a lot more weird. Like, the weirdos just be the louder ones. Weirdos are always louder than the regular people who are keeping it cute, who are keeping it calm, who are keeping it regular. Anyways, but yeah, anywho, back to the comment thing. I did want to share that story because I felt like I had waited ample enough time. And by ample enough time, I mean like 2 weeks. So I really wanted to tell the podcast like that week, but I was feeling so uncomfortable and nervous and scared. I didn't want to, so I didn't. Anyways, but yeah. Anywho, back to that comment, this white man, I'm assuming because that's the picture that was on the profile picture, he told me that I need to grow up and stop clickbaiting my videos. And honestly, like at this point, like unless you got the camera, unless you're me, unless you're going to swap bodies with me, girl, don't tell me what to do. Like I told y'all on my favorite podcast, the girl has said I had to start telling white people to stop talking to me. And I fear a specific type of white people about to start making me tell them to stop talking to me. Like, I didn't appreciate that really, because honestly, like, I hate to break it to you, but low key clickbaity titles, that's how you get the viewers sometimes. Whether or not they decide to stay is up to them. But I fear I'm not letting that marketing tactic go, I don't think. And really the thing is about the clickbait titles is that I always in some way mention what I clickbaited the title. In that video in particular, it was the I hit the lottery video. Obviously, if I hit the lottery, I'm not coming on the internet and saying I hit the lottery. You would just have to see the way that I move and make the assumptions, but I'm never confirming or denying that. First of all. Secondly, so if you clicked on the video thinking I was going to tell you about how I hit the lottery, well, that's your fault, isn't it? Isn't it? Anyways, then what was the other one? Oh, yeah. I ended up talking about what I would do if I hit the lottery. I just didn't write if I hit the lottery. I excluded the if and I just wrote, I hit the lottery. Maybe my hand slipped and I forgot to type if. You don't know what I've got going on over here. Again, white men trying to police what I got going on. What a black woman has going on. Like, girl, stay over there. You ain't have to comment that. You could have clicked off the video. If you were somebody about that clickbait, you could have clicked off that damn video. But you didn't. You commented. And I appreciated the engagement. Anywho, but I didn't appreciate that. People who don't do the job love to come on here and tell you how to do it. Girl, leave me alone. People clickbait titles all the time. Do I think they're trifling for doing that? Well, yes, but a marketing tactic is a marketing tactic. I can't make it not work. I can't make clickbaiting not work. I always tell at least 50% to 100% of the truth in the title. I do what I do. Anywho, somebody also was in the comments and they said, oh, I think you have the potential to be great on YouTube. You should try some thumbnails or something. And I was like, So then I did what I do and I went on TikTok and I was like, guys, how important are thumbnails to you? And people were like, they're really important. And I was like, damn it. Because I'm not going to lie. Not to be that girl, but I'm kind of lazy and I don't really like doing things that take too much time. I don't really love working too hard, and I only have Canva free. So like making a thumbnail is actually kind of hard. And I was like, I don't really know if I want to do that. And so I did it last week, and I'm gonna give old girl a chance because I'm all for feedback and input, and critiques, as I stated in my last episode. So I'm gonna take the critique, I'm gonna take the feedback, and I'm gonna do the thumbnails for the next 4 episodes. And if they look terrible, if I'm not liking the extra workload, I will give up. I will. If I don't notice an increase in analytics, I will give up. I will quit. I will. I think it's important to be a quitter, actually. I don't think that we talk about that enough. I think that sometimes like people like say, "Oh, they shun quitters." And I don't think that that's very productive. I think being a quitter, not obviously like people who quit every single thing that they start, but I feel like quitting is it's a skill sometimes. I think being able to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, "Girl, this isn't working." And be like, "Yeah, we're going to stop that." I think you know what people have said? There's a good quote out there, and it's like, it takes a lot of strength or something like that. It takes more power to say no than it does to say yes and please others. And I honestly agree with that, I think. I really do, because I won't say that I'm not a people pleaser anymore, but I've definitely stopped being like the level of people pleasing has gone down for me. And yes, I'm proud of myself, but at the same time, I think like the quote says, like it takes a lot to say no. And I think that I'm learning how to say no even in like my personal life and like my job and stuff. And I think it really can be hard to say no, especially in certain situations, because especially depending on like what the environment is. Like some people, like I've said, like even like with the situation that I talked about with the man who texted me, like no, like not being taken for an answer, and like low key like men, I feel like sometimes I think that women romanticize men being persistent. And I mean, if you're okay with it, cool, but I feel like we shouldn't really be romanticizing that. Sometimes like women like are saying no, or like anytime that I've heard about like men being persistent or stories about it, it's always like, "Oh, I was dating this guy and he just and this other man, sorry, but women will be like, "Oh, I was dating this guy and this man over here, like he wanted to go on a date with me, but I was with this guy, and so I said no, and he just he was really persistent, and so we broke up, and I ended up letting, like saying yes, and now we're happy and healthy, and da 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 da." If it's like you're okay with the man being persistent, I guess okay, but at the same time, we don't really need to be romanticizing like women saying no or being uncomfortable in situations, and then men being like, "Okay, well, I'm going to keep pushing here." I don't think that that's okay. I really don't. And the more I'm learning about like the importance of like consent and like how important it is to like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I want people to feel comfortable around me. Like I want people to be like, if they're going through something, they feel like they can talk to me. And I want to like be able to help people through those situations and stuff. And I don't really understand like people who don't take no for an answer, or like constantly like push people, especially like when we're talking about men and women, men who constantly push women after they said no, or after they've expressed disinterest, or like after they've like blocked you or something. Like I don't like that persistence. I don't think a lot of women like that. Like nobody wants to be pushed up on and like made to feel uncomfortable. Like, and I don't know why you would want a woman to only say yes under the circumstances of you making them feel uncomfortable. I think that that's something that I don't understand about men. in general, like, I'm not saying all men do that, but the men that do, like, I don't know why you would want a woman who doesn't want you and has expressed that and maybe only has said yes because they feel uncomfortable. And even more so on that topic, I don't understand the conversations because I have been seeing them a lot on Black Twitter. When women when women say that they want a man who checks certain boxes for them, when they say they want a man who isn't struggling, case in point, I saw a tweet earlier today where a woman was like, oh, they were talking about Keith Lee and his wife. And they were talking about how, oh, like he always treats his wife like a queen and like she deserves to be treated. He's always like taking care of her and stuff. And somebody had quote tweeted that and was like, yeah, a lot of y'all won't ever get this and you won't ever understand it because a lot of y'all don't want to hold a man down while he's quote unquote broke and while he's down and XYZ. And I have a couple of problems with that sentiment. One being, why should women be expected to like hold someone down while they're maybe not doing well financially? Or if they're like in prison or something, like, I'm not saying that Keith Lee situation or whatever. I'm just talking in general, but why should a woman be expected to hold a man down while he's in trouble or struggling? What the fuck does that have to do with me? Genuine question. And then moreover, why would you want a woman? So now we have, why would you want a woman, to the men out there, why would you want a woman who has to be feeling uncomfortable to say yes to you? Why would you want a woman to why would you want a woman to like lower their standards to date you? Why would you want that? Because somebody actually brought up this great point. I don't really remember who it was. It was something on social media, but they ended up like saying something along the lines of these women who talk about like they want a man who makes this amount of money and doesn't have kids and blah, 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 blah. Has like a whole list of like, has a whole list of like qualities she wants her man to have, how like where she needs him or wants him to be financially, stuff like that, having life goals. First of all, I don't think that there's anything wrong with having standards for men. Secondly, I don't know why men get so upset about women having these standards and like to tell them that and like talk down to them and demean them and tell them that you're never going to find a man like that and you need to lower your standards because you're asking for too much. These women aren't asking for too much. You just personally aren't meeting the requirements. And so just don't date that woman. That's just not the type of woman for you. You need to go for somebody whose standards and requirements are things that you align with. Why would you want to be with a woman who doesn't want to be with you, who doesn't want what you can give them? Why would you want to be with a woman like that? And moreover, why would you want to like talk down to a woman who does want those things? Like she just has different standards than you have for yourself or maybe for a significant other. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But yeah. And then when you do that, like I said, they talk down to you and they're demeaning and they start cussing you out and telling you you're a whore, you're a slut. And I'm like, girl, what? Whoa. That got... Like men be violent verbally on the internet. And then like men are just violent to women in general. And again, some of y'all wonder why why women don't like men, why women are man haters, why we're always talking about men. Is because y'all don't even do a good job at showing up and being men and making the rest of y'all look good. A lot of y'all be making men look really bad, actually. And then it's at the point of like, well, girl, why would I want to talk to you? Why would I want to have a man in my life if you're only going to be bringing negative energy and violence towards me? Like, if I don't feel comfortable with you, why would I want to be around you? And if the only way that I'm around you is because you make me uncomfortable, well, we have a problem on our hands, don't we? Because why would you as a man not want the person that you're with, the person that you're dating, the person that you marry, the person that you have children with to be comfortable around you? Something to think about, men. To the men out there, something to think about. Anyways, wow, I wasn't expecting to talk about that. Anywho, I'm really excited because the main topic of the episode, and really the only topic of the episode, because I ain't got nothing else, y'all. It's going to have to be off the dome or a short episode. Anywho, the main topic of the episode this week is Camila Cabello. Oh my gosh! This is so exciting because I actually really love Camila Cabello because I was a big Fifth Harmony fan and I love all of those women. There have been allegations about Ali Brooke Hernandez and her supporting the genocide in Palestine, and that is one never okay. So the other four, Dinah and Normani and Camila and Lauren, per. Anywho, love them down. I was a big Fifth Harmony fan, so I, keep tabs on the girls. And Camila has released 3 albums since she left the group and everything, and I've bought all of them. And I'm really excited for Normani's album. When that comes out, I'm going to buy that. I'm sure I know she's going to do big things. She's going to blow me away. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. I'm already shaking. Anyways, but what I want to talk about today was Camila Cabello released a song on Wednesday, and it was called I Love It. And Playboi Carti is featured in the song. I have no clue what that man's saying, but he's in there. He's in there mumbling, okay? And he's in there, and the song is hyper pop, okay? That's what it's giving. That's a genre, hyper pop. It's something that it's a genre of pop that a lot of the people I won't say a lot of people, I don't really know who does it outside of Charlie XCX and some other people that were listed on the internet. But she's kind of done like a rebrand. She dyed her hair blonde and she released this song, and it's a different sound and genre than she's been doing before. And I really did want to talk about this because I have seen a lot of hate that woman was getting. So I have the picture here I'm about to put up on the screen of the tweet. Hold on, guys. I got to get my stuff together. Oh, here it is. Somebody had tweeted, what people's thoughts were on the new Camila Cabello and Playboi Carti song. And somebody had quote tweeted that and said, this would have been really cool if it was anybody else. Like, she never gave weird pop girl. She failed all her classes at, and then it's like an artist name, university, academic probation, boots down. And I kind of thought that that was a strange thing to say because I had seen tweets about the song all day once it got released, and people were like, this is really boring. It's not, what was it? Oh yeah, it's inauthentic. People were saying stuff like that. This rebrand doesn't feel authentically her. And to that, I'll say, since when have we expected pop girls to be authentic? I don't think that that's ever been something that we've demanded from people from pop artists especially, for them to be authentic. And I think that this is also a really weird thing because when we talk about pop music in general, and we talk about stan culture, the idea of eras comes into play. And so when we talk about eras, a lot of the artists now play into that. I think it's fair to say Ariana plays into the eras. I think you can say recently Beyonce has played into eras. I want to say I kind of want to say Sabrina Carpenter, but I don't know if there's enough evidence for that yet. Maybe Olivia Rodrigo, you could say. But for the most part, the pop standard is that whatever album you're about to release, whatever stuff you have going on, then you kind of need to like have an era of that, okay? And so it's the rollout, the look, it's the style, it's what type of music you're doing or whatever. It's the album, then maybe it's what type of features are you doing? What kind of songs are you putting out like after the album? And so for this Camila situation in general, her last album was it leaned more heavily on like Latin culture, right? So it had like the vibe of like mariachi band. It had like more instruments in there. It just was an overall different sound for her than her previous two bodies of work, which I think were good. Romance and then her self-titled album were really good. I really enjoyed them. Familia was different for me, but I still liked it and enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool to see her experiment with new sounds and stuff, but also things that were like more pertaining to her culture. I thought was really cool. But I feel like there's this double standard with Camila that's really strange. And I do want to say, first of all, I understand where especially Black people are coming from when they talk about not liking her, or when they're critical of her. And obviously this isn't everybody, like, and I understand that some people like aren't where I'm at in the thought process about this, but I just think that a lot of people just don't like Camila, and they try to come up with reasons why and apply it to her music, and then like when they apply it doesn't make sense. So like you can say you don't like Camila for this reason, and if you're a Black person who doesn't like Camila, it's likely because of the racist stuff that happened. Okay, there was a Tumblr page, stuff like that. If you want to get into it and read about it, I'm sure it's on the internet somewhere. It's on Twitter. It's on Tumblr. I'm actually sure if you went and looked her name up on Twitter right now, there was actually a tweet where somebody was like, never mind, I'm not even going to say it. But I feel like a lot of people just don't like Camila, and then they try to play it off and say that it's because of the music and that she doesn't feel authentic and her rebrand is weird and blah, 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 blah. And that can be a critique. That can be. But when you take a step back and ask yourself, when have we ever demanded authenticity from a pop girl? It's a bit silent. Like, if you're going to come with critiques about the music and not liking it for that reason, there were some people saying that this was the worst song they've ever heard. That was, okay, you gassed it a bit. Like, even if the song was bad, it wouldn't be, like, the worst song you ever heard. It's, like, very much a stretch. At the same time, maybe that hyper pop sound just isn't for you. And I don't think that every genre has to be for everybody. And maybe you like her other music, but just didn't like this one. That's fine. Maybe this album and this sound and this era just isn't for you. And that's okay, I think. Yeah, I think that that's okay. But like to go and say that it's inauthentic or that it's boring or that whatever, or like that she copied other people, I find that weird because when we talk about pop artists, I love Ariana Grande. Ariana has had eras, and I'm not ever going to say that they were inauthentic or authentic or whatever, because I don't know that lady well enough to be like, that wasn't authentically her sound. If the art that she wanted to do and make during her Thank You Next Time and the features that were surrounding that era, like Rule the World with 2 Chainz, and then some of the music that she did for the Charlie's Angels remake album, those all kind of have trap sounds and make sense for that era. I'm not going to say that's inauthentic, because at the time, that's the music that she wanted to make. At the time, those were the producers that she surrounded herself with made music like that. And I don't think And that was the influence for that time. And she was able to tell her story through that genre. Okay, point blank. Then we have like Sweetener. She did that album with Pharrell, and she had dyed her hair blonde. She still had the ponytail vibe going. I mean, she still always kind of has a ponytail anyways. Anyways, besides the point. But she dyed her hair blonde, and that album, it was very refined, and it was very different from the music that she had done before. And because Dangerous Woman was, to me, it was very much more pure pop girl. Maybe had like some trap elements, but that was very pop, very pop. And then the album before then, some people have said that they didn't really like that album. I like all the albums. Anyways, but people's criticism of that is that it feels like a playlist. It doesn't feel very coherent. It doesn't feel like a full body of work. Which, I mean, I guess you could say I wasn't really thinking about it like that. I just thought the songs were good and I liked them. I haven't really thought about that and then gone to listen to the album and confirm whether or not I agree with that. And then the first album, I haven't really ever heard people critique that album. There were a couple songs in there that I didn't love, but like that's a debut album. Like, girl, I'm not really expecting to be like there's always room to grow, you know? And then we have, after Thank You Next, we had Positions. And that era was no more like ponytail extension. This is just natural ponytail. Not only that, but it was just a different vibe. It was Lover Girl kind of. Just happy to be here. Happy to be living life. And then we have Eternal Sunshine, where we're at now. Again, natural ponytail. Blonde again. But the sound is different. Like, I think the sound for all of these albums have been different. Her first album was very vocal. It was kind of poppy. I don't think it felt more R&B-ish, soulish, it hinging on that mixed with like pop. And then the second album was that second album felt more R&B-esque, but still had pop elements. The third album, Dangerous Woman, felt very, very pop, but also still had kind of like a trap like vibe to it. Then the fourth album, Sweetener, was more refined. It didn't feel like any of the projects before. It felt fresh. It felt different. Then we had Thank You Next. That was heavily more trap. Really enjoyed it regardless. Positions was more R&B-esque, leaning towards that more than pop. Still having pop elements, but not really like as much as like a Dangerous Woman or her first album. And then we have her most recent album, Eternal Sunshine, and that I still like at this point don't really know what that album feels like. It's very vocal. There are elements to it that feel pop, but there's also like that R&B-esque influence to it. So yeah. But anyways, I like that album, but I feel like Ariana is given a lot of leeway to experiment with her sound. But the thing is that like I think that it always goes well. Relatively, Ariana fans always like the new sound. They always like, it's never pushing the boundaries too much to where people are like completely turned off of it, but it's also like different enough to where it feels like there's growth there. Her Sweetener album, even like actually the first single that she released, No Tears Left to Cry, I did not like that song at first. Like it took like 10 listens for me to get it. And then when I got it though, I was there. I was with her. And there's not really been any other moment outside of that song where I've kind of been like, I don't know about this. Maybe Yes and a little bit. But I had listened to house music besides that song. So it wasn't like shocking, and it wasn't like I don't like the song. It's too different. I don't like it. I thought it was cool. I thought the concept was a vibe, and I liked the house vibe. I really thought it was cool. But when I went on TikTok last night and I made a video about Camila and the rebrand and how people are saying that it's inauthentic and stuff, and somebody was in the comments talking about they brought something up, and I ended up saying, like, Ariana Grande has done different genres and she's able to experiment, so why aren't other people? And someone else ended up bringing up something. I don't really remember exactly what it was, but it was more so, I think, just elaborating on the same point that the first person had made. And I was kind of just like, I just think it's really weird that other artists are able to try new things and not get judgment for it. Like Ariana she could go and do a full R&B album tomorrow and release it, and people would love it, and they would say that it's not her typical stuff and she knows how to experiment and do new things. But if Camila went and did this new sound, or no, if Camila went and made an album like her last album, or if she kept leaning heavily into what the formula that she knows works for her, people would say that she's boring and doesn't push the boundaries, and that's why they don't like her. I genuinely think people just don't like Camila. And then they try to tell you that it's because of the music, it's because of the sound, it's because of this, because of that. And it's not that. You just don't like the girl. And that's okay. You don't have to like everybody. You don't have to like every artist. Maybe this girl isn't for you, and that's fine. But I don't think you need to go around talking about this era and this rebrand is inauthentic when you've never demanded authenticity from a lot of other artists. And if you went around and said that Ariana Grande changing her sound so often and evolving as an artist was inauthentic, people would absolutely tell you to shut up. Like, they would tell you to shut the fuck up, because as an artist, like, you have to grow. You have to do more. Like, that's like the biggest critique of any artist out there is typically if somebody doesn't like something, it's because they're like, this person just hasn't grown. Like, their sound hasn't changed. It hasn't evolved. And that's like low key. I like Shawn Mendes. I do. I liked his evolution from his first album to his second, and I really liked his self-titled album a lot. And then he went and released his last album, Wonder, and I thought it was terrible. It was just really loud, like the production on it was really loud. I didn't think that the lyrics were thoughtful. It just felt like something, I don't know, it didn't feel like, I liked the concept, maybe. I think I liked the concept, but the execution of it just wasn't that great. And then nobody ever even really said anything. A lot of people didn't even know that album got released, I'll be honest. And that made me sad because I think that he was trying to do something different. He was trying to evolve his sound, but I think he should have evolved it in a way that was kind of like his self-titled album, going more in that direction instead of whatever that last thing was. That was unfortunate, and I really hated that because I enjoyed his music. I enjoy him as an artist, and I was like, damn, like this album was not his best work. So that was unfortunate. But again, I think it's important for artists to be able to experiment with their sound and try new things, figure out what works, figure out what doesn't, and go back and workshop it. And I feel like a lot of artists are given that grace. I think Beyonce's given that grace. Right now, she's doing this country album. Before then, she kind of did like the house vibe, ballroom. I won't say ballroom-esque, but like ballroom-esque. And I feel like those people, even like Taylor Swift, when she started doing pop music, a lot of people are given leeway to be experimental with their sounds. And then when Camila does it, it's inauthentic, it's not real, it's blah, 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 blah. Girl, you just don't like her. And that, like I said, that's perfectly okay for you to not like the girl. But don't try to say that it's because don't try to point at other reasons. If you don't like what happened in her past, say you don't like what happened in her past and that you've been off the girl ever since. That's fine. I just find it weird to like try to be like saying, oh, it's because of the music. It's da-da-da-da-da-da. Girl, it's not because of that. You just don't like that lady. And that's fine. Just say that though. You don't have to come over here and say it's because the music is inauthentic and she didn't do it right and blah, blah, blah. She didn't do it right. That's objective. That's objective. We need to be serious with ourselves. If we're going to talk about music and we're going to critique it, we need to come with heavy hitting stuff. Somebody was actually in my comments, they said they like the song, they like it, it's exciting. And to me personally, I was really excited to know that she was not going to be giving us what the typical pop girl stuff that she had been giving us. I was excited that she was going to be doing something new, trying something new, because it gives fans like, I think what I really like about artists experimenting with their sound and doing different things and trying new genres is that it gives fans like an opportunity to like get outside of just listening to that person. So like maybe you're a huge maybe I'll use this example. Maybe you're a huge SZA fan and you heard Phoebe Bridgers on the album and you had never listened to any of her music, but you thought it was kind of a cool vibe. So you go and listen to Phoebe Bridgers. And maybe from Phoebe Bridgers, you end up finding out that she was in like a group. And the group Boy Genius. And Boy Genius, they have some good songs. I enjoy their music. I think they won a couple Grammys at the past Grammys award ceremony, and I thought that was cool. And so then maybe you start listening to more indie music and maybe you find something or some alternative music and you find something new. For me, like I was a big fan of Ross Lynch. There's a bunch of posters on my door of Ross Lynch because when I was younger, I just thought he was so cute. And then I would get like those like Teen Beat and Bop and Tiger Beat magazines or whatever. And I would get the magazines from in there and I'd take them out and I put them on my wall. And so because I enjoy watching him on Austin and Ally, I actually bought the Austin and Ally album. I'm trying to see if I can find it because I just think it's really funny that I have it. Let me see, guys. Hold on. Anyways, but from that album, I have this Jonas Brothers album cover and the album's in my car, but I have 102 Dalmatians in here. This is a great movie, actually. Anyways, but I do need to put this up, but this album is really cool. I really enjoyed it. I think it was like one of the first albums it was like one of the first albums that my mom got me and my sister. Besides like this Justin Bieber one, but anyways, or actually besides this like Cheetah Girls one, which the Cheetah Girls one was actually fire. She also got us like a High School Musical one that was cool. Yeah, I have so many of them. I have Cheetah Girls 2, which arguably was the best Cheetah Girls. I have that one. And then we have Justin Bieber, My World Acoustic. And at the time, I had this iPod Nano. Isn't it? She's so cute. She's so like, she's a bit busted up. Like you can tell she's been through war a little bit, but I had this iPod Nano and I only had like the CDs that my mom had bought. I only had those songs on the iPod. So I didn't have like a bunch of options, but those were like the songs that I would listen to all the time. And I just found the album actually. So this is super exciting. And I also have Princess and the Frog, which is one of my favorite Disney movies. But yeah, this is it. I have this Ross Lynch, Austin and Ally first CD. I actually remember my aunt was like, "Girl, what do you want for Christmas?" And I was like, "I want the Austin and Ally soundtrack." And old girl got it. Like I think she said she found it at Target, which big ups to Target at that time, but this was it and these were the songs on it. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to flick y'all off, my bad. Damn. Sorry. But yeah, these were the songs and they're backwards, but you know what, maybe they'll be forward when I play it back. Anyways, but yeah, these were the songs or whatever. But if you can see on here, they had bonus tracks and these were performed by R5. So, and R5 was the group that he was in with his family. So I started off listening to Ross Lynch from Austin and Ally. Then I found out that he was in a band with his family. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I love Ross Lynch, so I'm gonna listen to the band. And so then I started listening to the band, and then they released an EP, and I loved that EP. And then I would actually come home and get on Spotify on the home on the family computer, and I would listen to the little EP, and I would watch them perform on YouTube the songs. And then they released an album, and the album was really cool, and it was like pop rock. It was pop rock genre, and I thought it was so cool. And I would watch them perform on YouTube and stuff, and I would watch their videos on YouTube, and I listen to the music, and then I'd still be watching Austin and Ally. And then they released a second album. Sorry. And they released a second album, and it was such a different sound, and it wasn't music that I'd ever heard before but prior to that moment, I had only known Disney and heavy pop music, and then Drake, Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, stuff like that. I had only heard music like that. So then when I heard their second album was it was leaning on that alternative sound, and I was like, girl, what is this, what? But it opened me up to that kind of music. So then I started listening to the 1975, and I started listening to some other groups, and I just starting to listen to sorry. Anywho, sorry, that was unfortunate. That cough medicine did not help me. It didn't. It said 12-hour relief, and clearly it ain't been 12 hours. Anyways, but where was I? The second album, it was very alternative, and so I started listening to more alternative and indie music, and from the 1975, hearing about Phoebe Bridgers or some other people, and just getting into that kind of music. And then they released a third album that was actually vastly different from the first two. Wasn't even alternative. It was just I don't even know what you would call it. It was just different. I liked it. I thought it was cool. And then the band split up. R5 split up. And I was like, damn, it's over. But then him and his brother Rocky started the Driver era, which they're still going on now. And they started releasing a lot of music. And the music is nothing like R5. It's purely alternative, I think you can say. And it's just really cool. You can tell that they're up there and they're just having a good time, and they're making the music that they want to make. And but anyways, that music opened me up to a lot of different genres. And if it weren't for them experimenting with their sound, I wouldn't have been open up to those things. And like I said, I started listening to the 1975, which that's controversial at this time. But the 1975, they made a house or garage type album. It's called Notes on the Conditional Form. And when I first listened to it, I was not vibing. I listened to it a second time, and I was like, I don't get it. And then the third time, I was kind of I was getting in there. I was getting the vibe. And so that opened me up to more house music, and honestly just being experiencing new genres and stuff, and new techniques and stuff was really cool. And it prepared me for the Yes and song that Ariana did. So I thought that was cool. And sometimes I think that Dua Lipa I won't say it's house music, but she definitely does club music. It's still pop, and it's not repetitive kind of house or garage music is, but Dua Lipa has her own sound, and I think it's really cool. But she even, when she started experimenting with synths, her first album was very pop, and then her second album to me was still pop, but she started kind of getting her own sound of she's using the synthesizer, and she's creating some really great art that obviously did really well. Future Nostalgia is probably one of my favorite albums. And then she's about to release her next album, and I'm really excited about it. I really enjoyed Houdini. Training Season was pretty good. I don't think it was as good as Houdini, but I really liked it. And I'm excited for her album. But if these artists didn't try new things and experiment with their sounds, I don't think that they would be able to find the things, they wouldn't be able to find the things that are successful for them. Ariana, I feel like she can kind of do anything. Beyonce's about to do this country album, and she did the house thing, and people really enjoyed that with Renaissance. And then yeah, there's Sabrina Carpenter, even she changed her sound. Her sound was very different. Her first album, her second album, I really love. I really enjoy her second album. Her third album, that was like in two parts. That was cool. There were more EPs. I don't really know if she calls them albums. I don't know. And then her album, Emails I Can't Send, is very different from the first three albums that she released, and I think that that's really cool. But yeah, I think these artists like experimenting with their sound really opens up their audience to new people. And I just feel like it's an important thing to be exposed to different types of music, to different types of genres, so that you can kind of just like understand that like music is like a subjective thing, but it's also experimental and is about like trying to see what people can do and how they can be different and put their own style on something. So yeah, but anywho, like I said, I'm actually happy and excited that Camila's trying like new sounds and stuff. I think it's really cool, and I think it takes a lot of guts actually to try new things. So like when Taylor Swift first started doing pop music, and when some other people started doing new things or trying new genres, I felt like it's important because, like I said, like it's important for people to understand that artists don't and shouldn't stay in a box, and that they should keep trying to grow and try new things with their craft. It's kind of like if you live your life and just expect to like keep doing the same things and never grow and never change, like what would be the point of living then? Like what's the point of really doing anything if you're not gonna keep trying to elevate and evolve yourself to do bigger and better things? But yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say there. And we're at the hour mark, and I don't really have anything else to say. So, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you didn't, that's okay. You know, we can try again next week. I had fun recording it. Obviously, this wasn't the first take. It wasn't the second. It wasn't the fifth. It wasn't the third. But I feel like I'm proud of this one, and I enjoyed talking about the stuff that I enjoy. I really love talking about music. So yeah, hopefully you'll come back next week. If not, I understand. But it's been really cool. If you want to like and subscribe, feel free to do that. If you want to leave a comment about your opinion about things, that's cool. I'll probably respond or like it or whatever. If you want to see what I talk about and yap about on my other social media, feel free to do that. I actually will say I have a burner Twitter account, and I be telling people to go follow me on Twitter, and then I don't use my Twitter because I use my burner account now. And my burner account is just so much more fun. Like it feels so much more interactive. Like I feel like I can really be myself over there. Because at the end of the day, social media is kind of like showy. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I can be 100% honest over there and stand on the things that I say without feeling like I'm going to get backlash for them. So yeah, but I love a burner account. Honestly, if you want to make a burner account on Twitter, I highly advise that you do. It makes social media so fun. But anywho, yeah, thanks so much for watching if you did and making it this far. Like I said, I love talking about music. Hopefully next week I'll have more stuff to talk about. But yeah, this podcast is kind of just off the dome stream of consciousness. Sometimes I have stuff planned to say. Other times I just come on here and talk about what's going on in my life. And yeah, that's kind of always what you're going to get from this podcast. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.